is Josh McGuire from theCodery, here today in partnership with Spekit to show you person accounts in Health Cloud, how they are set up and how they are used. If you're unaware, Salesforce, Spekit, and theCodery are working together now to get you up and running quickly in the new free Health Cloud solution that Salesforce has released in response to COVID-19. Here's a link to the resources and where you can find these free tools. So let's talk about person accounts and health clouds. Person account, if you're unaware, is the combined entity of an account and contact. If you were to look strictly in the database, it would be represented as an account record linked to a contact and a contact record linked to an account. In the user interface, these are all represented as a single entity. So a person account is no different than a contact or an account, and it all looks like one and the same. So let me show you real quick what this looks like inside of Health Cloud. Let's look at Charles Green, the most famous patient there is inside of Health Cloud. This is a person account. So when you open the Care Response console application, you can navigate to accounts here by searching inside of the account switcher. And when you go to accounts, person accounts show up in this list view just as every other account does. And of course, you can configure a list view to show person accounts exclusively. When we click on Charles Green, it's going to open and look very much like an account or a contact would inside of the Lightning interface. And in fact, you know this is a person account both by looking at the account record type as well as the icon up here on the left. Now, what is this under the hood? If I were to open my nifty, thrifty developer console inside of Salesforce, I would see, when I look at account, I see all of my standard account fields and even some of the custom account fields that come in through packages like Health Cloud, but I also see these other things called PC. PC or contact fields represented in a person account on the account object. So if you were, for example, to use a tool like Data Loader and you wanted to go in and map a data load file to this, you would have access to these fields inside of Data Loader. So the beauty of using person accounts is when you load to the account object, you also have access to context fields simultaneously, so you can load accounts and contacts inside of Salesforce at the same time. And this works, of course, through any kind of API call, not just through Data Loader. So through the account object, you can access both account and contact fields for manipulation. And one small but important point of clarification, the fields from the contact object are available on the account object. However, that does not go both ways. The contact object does not have access to the account object. So just a good rule of thumb as you're manipulating data, loading data, or working with person accounts, typically better to work from the account side first. As you go inside of Salesforce and look to configure person accounts, what you'll do now instead of just going straight to the account object is you'll actually find in the object manager a thing called person account. And this is where you specifically configure page layouts, compact layouts, and even specific record types for person accounts themselves. When you configure a person account layout, what you will see here is you have access to fields both on the account and contact object as a person account. And likewise, you'll have access to related lists that are available for accounts and contacts on the person account layout. So this is super helpful to look at the record in one single mashup. Take a second here to talk about a couple of finer points when it comes to configuring person accounts. One is configuring fields. You'll notice that the account object and contact objects host fields for person accounts. One thing you will have to make a decision on at some point in time is to whether you want to configure a field on a contact or configure a field on an account. There's no really hard, fast, steady rule of thumb here. Typically what we do when we implement Health Cloud for our clients is to put business-specific data at the account level and put personal, demographic, and other data at the contact level. So you reserve the contact, in essence, for truly personal information. You reserve the account for truly business information. Likewise, let's talk a little bit about some other pieces of configuration you'll need to do for the person account at the account level. One is Lightning record pages. These are always stored at the account level, not at the person account level. Just be careful also if you're retrieving metadata to look at the person account object for this as well. Likewise, you'll have to configure search account layouts at the account level as well. So some things here are not super simple or straightforward, but you'll figure it out as you go. Inside of Health Cloud, if you were to configure Health Cloud from the ground up, the first thing you'd want to do is to enable person accounts. In fact, Health Cloud has two options for how individuals are represented. You can represent individuals as what's called the individual model, which is no longer supported by Health Cloud, or as person accounts. And if you are firing up an existing org and wanting to use the Health Cloud solution, what you would do is you would need to file a case with Salesforce to enable person accounts first, and then you can go in and configure it. The next step to configuring Health Cloud person's accounts is to go into custom settings. You'll want to find this Use Person Account Custom Setting. You'll want to go next to it and click Edit. You'll want to make sure that the Enable checkbox is checked. You'll click Save. And then the next step to enable person accounts for use inside of your Health Cloud solution is to go here into individual record types. Click Edit on the person account custom metadata type if it already exists, or create a new person account metadata type that mirrors this configuration. It'll have a label of person account. You'll have a subtype of person account, and then a record type of person account identified here if that's your record type. Now, it's very important when you go inside of Salesforce that you know the specific developer name for the record type for this piece of the configuration, or else it will not work. Thank you very much for your time today. Please visit thecodery.io or spekit.co for more details and more information to enable you to get up and running in Health Cloud quickly.